Welcome to today's explainer. Okay, let's dive into this. I want you to imagine, right now, that someone just handed you a crisp, glowing $100 bill. Not $1,000, not 10,000, just a simple, single $100 bill.
Let me ask you, what would you actually do with that money right now? I mean, if we're being completely honest, most of us would probably spend it within a few days. You might grab a new game, pick up some clothes, maybe hit the drive-thru for a meal you'll probably regret in an hour, or just make a couple of quick online purchases. And just like that, it's gone. Poof, forever.
Which brings us to section 1, the $100 choice, spending versus investing. And this brilliantly illustrates how you're basically faced with two totally different universes. You can take the typical route, right, spending your money within days on those fleeting items that just quickly disappear, or you can choose a massive transformation. You can choose to invest. That exact same $100 is placed on a path to grow mathematically over time. It can become $200, then $500, then $1,000, and eventually so much more.
So, the biggest fundamental difference between the two is this. Spenders work for money. They trade their time to buy things that constantly lose value. But investors, well, they make money work for them. They use their cash to buy things that actually grow and produce value over time. It's a total mindset shift.
Which brings us to arguably the most important word in finance, an asset. An asset is simply something that can put money back into your pocket. That's it. It's not some highly guarded, complicated Wall Street secret. The sooner you understand this simple, incredibly powerful concept, the sooner you can actually begin building real wealth.
Let's move to section 2 and see how this builds. Redefining wealth and investing. Myth versus reality.
A lot of people starting out think investing is basically just a fancy form of gambling. It absolutely isn't. Gambling relies entirely on luck and completely random outcomes. You spin a wheel, you cross your fingers, and hope for the best. But investing, that relies on the actual ownership of value-producing businesses and assets. When you invest, you are literally buying a small piece of a productive engine. So it's not about getting rich overnight, it's about becoming steadily wealthier, year after year, through genuine ownership.
So the crucial point is how this ownership actually creates wealth. And the answer is compounding. It's basically the hidden mathematical engine of the wealthy. Compounding is simply when your initial money earns returns, and then those new returns begin earning even more money over time. To put that into perspective, if you invest just $100 once at a 10% average annual return and never add another dime, in 40 years it mathematically grows to over $4,500. No way, right? But it's true. Let's look at compounding in action. You start with your initial $100. If it grows by 10%, next year you have $110. But here is where the absolute magic happens. The following year, you aren't just earning a return on that original $100 anymore. You're earning money on that larger $110 base. So your money begins earning money, and then that money earns even more money. It's exactly like a giant snowball rolling downhill, and it proves that investing rewards patience far, far more than it rewards sheer intelligence.
All right, moving on to section 3. Before you invest, building your financial foundation.
Listen closely here, because you absolutely must establish basic financial stability before you invest a single dime. First, create a simple budget. Second, build a small emergency fund. And third, ruthlessly avoid high-interest debt. You have to build this strong foundation, because investing is supposed to help your future. If you start investing while you're drowning in credit card debt or without any kind of safety net, you aren't building wealth. You are just creating brand new financial problems for yourself. Seriously, foundation first.
This brings us to section 4, how to invest smartly. Where should your first $100 actually go? Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that it shows the goal isn't to try and find the next big miracle stock. The real secret? Diversification. Instead of betting your entire $100 on one single company, like putting all your fragile eggs into one basket, you slice that money up. You spread it across multiple different companies and assets. This is the much smarter approach because it drastically reduces your overall risk, while at the same time increasing your long-term stability. Because at the end of the day, investing isn't about finding a miracle. It's about owning productive assets for a long time. True financial stability comes from that long-term, diversified ownership, not from betting your entire financial future on one lucky tip you heard from a buddy.
Now for section 5, avoiding beginner mistakes, common pitfalls to bypass.
Look, dodging psychological traps is honestly just as important as knowing what to buy. Here are the 5 traps that routinely completely ruin beginner investors. Mistake 1. trying to get rich quickly. Mistake 2, following social media hype. Mistake 3, checking your investments every single hour. You'll drive yourself crazy doing that. Mistake 4, panicking and selling during market declines. And mistake 5, waiting for the quote-unquote perfect time to start. Let me be perfectly clear about this. There is no perfect time. The absolute most important step you can take is simply getting started right now.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 6, your simple action plan, the 5-step blueprint.
Okay, let's walk through this blueprint together. Step 1, invest your first $100. Step 2, add money consistently, month after month. Step 3, stay invested and just let the math do its job. Step 4, ignore the short-term noise and all the panic in the news. And Step 5, continue learning. Remember, real wealth isn't built in days or through overnight successes. It's built through years of patient, consistent action.
I absolutely love this quote. Your first $100 won't make you wealthy, but it will make you an investor. Making that very first decision to start is exactly where every single successful wealth-building journey begins. You really don't need thousands of dollars. You don't need special insider knowledge. You just need the discipline to begin.
So I'll leave you with this final, challenging question to think about today. Will your $100 disappear into fleeting purchases this week, or will you start building your wealth today? The choice is entirely in your hands. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this sparks the beginning of an incredible financial journey for you. See you next time.